Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Lorna's story. We're going to pick up basically right after where we left off. You've just received the Staff of Repentance. You've just managed to seal the rift that Adora created hundreds of years ago. And in doing so, Nolu stands before you, pleased. What do you do?
I'm not really sure what to do after such a momentous occasion. Is that... She'll, look at Nolu. Is that all I had to do to fix this?
As you ask that question, Nolu looks past you at the waterfall, and you see her eyes glow green as she clearly is performing some sort of spell. Moments pass, and she nods. The wound is gone. That means the land here will heal, as will my people. You and your friends are welcome here as allies now.
It won't be awkward.
Oh, I'm sure it will a little. But you are welcome to the hospitality of the Verdant Grove. At least so long as you need it.
I appreciate that. We have something up in Shona. That's what we were heading towards when I had the intention of stopping by here first.
Well,
So we can't stay indefinitely.
you must at least stay for the feast.
The feast?
There will be a celebration of this wound being cleansed.
I suppose that's reasonable. Of course, we can stay for that. I mean, I'd like to stay for longer and get to know you and the Grove, but we have a time crunch, unfortunately.
Then we can guarantee one night at least.
Okay. That sounds good.
And she turns and she says, "This, where you stand, was once and will once again become a shrine to Luminos.
Oh.
She has always watched over us. And while this was soiled for a long time, we could still feel her presence as it peered. Even during the times when everyone thought that it was dark, the moon still rose. And while she may have been silent, one doesn't need the voice of the gods when one treats each other as the gods would wish. Now, she sings with us almost every night. And with this shrine returned, our head priestess will certainly hear from her again. So you have our gratitude. Though this wound was a creation of your predecessor, only you and her could have sealed it.
I'm just glad I could help.
As are we. Now please, follow me back to the village.
Sure.
Your crew, some of them are fairly, just a little beat up. Lilith, in particular, took a lot of hits.
Yeah, Lorna will just pat her on the back. You held your own. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, demons suck.
I'm gathering that very rapidly.
Ow. It's weird when something makes you afraid of them. You think you have all the answers, you think your training will keep you up with whatever's happening, and you trust it, and then suddenly something makes you frightened, and it's like you forget everything you knew. And you're just that 8-year-old girl again.
Still, you handled yourself well.
Thanks.
And you're still standing.
For the moment. As you and the crew begin to make your way back toward the village, we're going to go ahead and move to that splash. Now that the rift has been sealed, I'd like you to roll me a perception check.
Sure. 24.
With a 24, you notice a few things. One, where is the staff right now?
She's probably holding it, hasn't let go of it.
Okay. As you're holding it, you feel like from the sphere, the actual tier that's in the staff, it's almost as though a cool breeze, the one that you might expect to come across your face when you're standing on the deck of a ship out at sea. It's like a consistent, cool, relaxing flow of air that's just washing up over your face and over your shoulders. It's not chilly. It just feels refreshing all the time. It smells clean and crisp, and it almost feels like you're out in the mountains looking out over all the valleys around, but you're not. You're in the middle of this village. And as you're looking around at the number of flowers in this village, there must be millions. There's so many flowers just covering all the buildings and the walkways and the passages, and the trees themselves bristle with flowers of all sorts of colors and shapes hanging from vines over the pathways. You're pretty sure it would be difficult to breathe with this many flowers.
Yeah.
But you don't smell any of that. All you smell is crisp, clean, fresh air. As if a moonlit night itself is breathing upon you. The village itself, as people are looking out to see what has happened, you see there's a different air about the village. The whole attitude has changed. You hear people are talking, but they almost sound... What's the word I'm looking for? Mournfully appreciative. It's as though some great tragedy has passed, and people are now beginning the process of healing. There's relief, there's crying, but it's not like bawling, weeping sobs. It's just mournful.
It's relief.
Yeah. More than that, though, people are looking at you and your team. Everyone's looking out at you, and some of them look surprised, some of them look confused, some of them... It's a different look than it was before.
If anything's better than the mistrust and hatred that was previous.
Well, there is still a little bit of mistrust, but instead of hatred now, there is the look of people that have been proven wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Those that know the story. You can almost like tell who knew who you were and who doesn't based on how they were looking at you. The ones who did know who you were look, one, relieved, and two, surprised. They didn't expect you to do this. The ones who did not know who you were are just looking around at their village and the airs around them with a sense of relief. It's almost the vibe of a war ending, and the soldiers can now come home. As you see druids, druidic warriors, individuals wearing leather armors with all sorts of blunt weapons and sharp edges and axes that are rejoicing and rejoining their homes in the village. You realize the demons that were spilling forth from that rift. In this moment, you realize there were so many. This village, this grove, was at a war. A war to keep that rift
spears.
as small as it could be.
Oh boy.
And as you're looking around, you hear Adora's tired voice in your mind say, "Regret is heavy."
Yeah.
I have much to atone for.
This was a good start.
Yes. Thank you for working with me to make this happen.
You're welcome.
One doesn't realize the folly of their ways until they see the repercussions. I apologize that you have been dealt the weight of my destruction.
Well, you'll still help me.
It's the least I can do.
I'm grateful for it.
You shouldn't be. You are entitled to it. You are my daughter, after all.
Oh. Lorna flushes just a little bit.
Adora falls silent.
Got a little pep in her step.
Okay. Now that the task is finished and the village seems to be almost like awakening, as if there was a hush before, as it's coming back to vibrant life, Nolu says over her shoulder, "I don't remember the last time I've seen it this cheerful." "Oh, yes, I do. But we won't put salt in the wound."
If Lorna had a hood, she'd pull it up over her head.
Now, I'm just teasing.
Right.
While you're staying with us, you are welcome to use, and she points to one of the buildings. You're welcome to use the old hermit's home. That's what we call the guest house. It's clean, if a little dusty. We weren't expecting company.
That's all right.
Typically, it's useful. Typically, we use it as an ambassador's home for other visiting groves, but you all can rest there. I'm sure there will be plenty of room for you and your crew.
Thank you.
Can you mentioned you were on a time crunch. What sort of time frame are you on?
Lorna
Because
reflects.
many of the grove are going to want to speak with you.
So she has been on the road from Farum to the Grove for approximately how long? A couple weeks?
A couple weeks. I think 2 weeks and a half.
That's okay. So she'll look back at Nolan and say, about a week and a half is how long I have left until we have to breach Shona proper.
And what are you doing in Shona?
We have a job to kill a Hydra.
Oh, you are certainly busy.
It's one of many things, but that's what we're getting paid to do.
And this Hydra has proven problematic, I'm sure. You were hired to deal with it?
That's right. They expressly reached out so that one of us would take care of it.
Do you know, well, it's not my place.
What? No, please.
Do you know the nature of this Hydra? How old it is? How long it has been there? Because you may be setting up for a harder fight than the one you just were in.
Well, the people who reached out for the job didn't really disclose a lot of information, and we figure that's because it's probably very difficult and they didn't want to drive away people to fulfill the contract. I only have a vague notion about, I don't even know really the type, it's just an estimation based on geography.
Yes, Shona. Okay, might likely a mountain hydra. There must be a lake or subterranean body of water. Hydras love water.
And they swim? I imagine they'd have to.
Oh yes, they swim better than they walk.
Good to know. So don't fight it in the water if we can help it?
If you can help it. Do you know if it's a flying hydra?
I don't.
I think a better question is, what do
What
you
do
know?
I know? Uh, Based on whether it's a mountain or a tunnel hydra, I know bludgeoning damage won't do anything. Poison would be effective, fire not effective, and they'll see in the dark fairly well.
Before you leave, I recommend you speak with Reaver. He is
Reaver?
our local monster hunter. He might
would-
be of aid.
I would love an expert's opinion on this.
You won't miss him. He's the only knoll in the village.
Reaver. Got it.
In the meantime, I will be telling anyone who asks if they wish to speak with the Rift's Herald that she'll be in the Hermit's house. So you may have some visitors.
That's all right. I feel like an explanation is owed to you all.
I'm going to send Grace the healer to stop by as well. Some of you look, well, like you've had the shit beaten out of you.
And Lorna looks totally fine.
Yeah, your crew looks fucked up and you just look untouched.
Perks of being like, oh, you can't hit me. I lose concentration. Make sure all of you eat the blows for me.
Yeah, that
Right.
did happen.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure my friends would appreciate it.
They look like it. I'll be back in the evening. Until then, she just kind of like bows her head and turns
Does
to
the
leave.
same. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Lorna. Your party all turn at you
Hey.
as, like, the Hermit's home is, like, right off the side of the road to your right. It's literally, like, 30 feet away. And as that is, like, in the backdrop as your party turns to look at you, Tierce and Nore both, like, start to say something at the same time. And then Tierce says, nope, after you.
Wise.
Nore just looks at him and then looks back at you. We just closed the portal to the abyss.
Yes, that is what happened. Thank you again for all of your support.
Yeah,
and
right, you're
help.
welcome. You could have done that this whole time?
No, okay. I understand your vested interest in this topic.
Oh, dude,
That
I hope
was-
you do. You didn't mention this ever.
Because I didn't know I could.
What?
And I don't know how to do that. That was Lily.
The voice in your head.
Right, she took over. She was the one doing it.
But can she hear me? Can she hear the things that we've been talking about?
Always, the entire time, yes.
Then why the hell didn't she say anything any other time that I talked about this?
Because we'd never done it before. We weren't even certain if it was possible if we could switch places. And it's a very taxing process that we can't just do for the sake of doing. I asked specifically.
So you can do it again, right?
Maybe. If the stakes were high enough.
My sister's stakes seem pretty high.
I agree. I will absolutely be consulting her about that ritual, but it's the reason she had to take over wasn't so much the process as the access to pure arcanic skill is not something I have currently compared to her. She's hundreds of years old.
Roll a persuasion.
Okay.
Nore seems steamed about this.
19. That's pretty good.
Hold on. I have made a grave error as your DM and not had my dice ready. 'Cause I'm a fool. Okay. Nore seems to take a deep breath and she closes her eyes. Okay.
Let me put it this way. If I were to do that again, and I was the one controlling it, I would need many other spellcasters to accomplish that feat.
The Blade Maidens are all spellcasters.
Then it's possible. And we'll do it. But I wasn't withholding information from you knowingly.
She rubs her eyes. You're the stupidest smart person I've ever met.
Thank you.
But I don't think... I'm not finished. But I don't think you would have done that on purpose.
No. The 5 of you are the people I'm 100% honest with always.
Did it hurt? It looked unpleasant.
It was very tiring. Probably did more to Lily than it did to me. And she's not supposed to be on this side of the mortal coil. It's very draining, and potentially it could rip her out completely if she stayed there too long.
Okay, so now that it's been done once, we know it can happen again.
In times of crisis,
What do you need other spellcasters for?
the pure, raw energy of magic to accomplish a spell of that caliber is just not something I have yet.
But if you had a team of Blade Maidens following up with you to perform that ritual, it could happen?
It could happen. It's possible. If I knew how the spell works, which means I need to be consulting with Lily on writing it down.
Okay. I'm pretty sure my sister is long gone. But that doesn't mean that we can't go for vengeance to seal those summoners' blasted portal and slay everyone we find. I understand we have our own responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Hydra to go kill,
Mhm.
and you have assassins chasing after you.
Yes.
But Terracona's not that far out of the way from... Saris? You said Saris? Is it Saris?
Where I'm from? Yes, there's.
Is that where we have to go to deal with these assassins?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's where she was based out of when I first met her, but she seems international as far as her influences. So
Then...
Yep.
Ugh, I hate that I'm
there's a
about to
spell
say
I
this.
would really like to look into that would help me find her.
Which is
But
that?
that's scrying.
Oh, that would help. Aye, that would help
Yes.
all of our efforts.
Sorry, what were you hating to say but needing to say?
After we deal with this Hydra, return to Farum and get paid, I would like to take some leave. Get to the Arcanium in Augur City and teleport to Taka. And then we have to cross the Origis, which is a daunting task. But if we can get across the Origis, we can get to Redoubt. We can gather the Blade Maidens. And we can find the old fort. And seal that portal. Where they took my sister.
Okay, we'll do it.
Nori looks around at the rest of the crew. We'll do it? And Tyr looks at her and he's like, yeah. I mean, we're a team. Group efforts are important, aren't they? I mean, why would we leave you hanging just because, it's not sanctioned by the Mary God? Maybe they'll have something over there. I don't know. It's worth
Neither
trying.
was this whole process, and you all helped me, so I don't see why we can't help Noray and any one of us with a problem.
Agreed. Meeting my dad wasn't even part of this, but here we are.
Anyone here who needs our help is going to get it.
Assassins will have a much harder time finding us if we're on the move like that. And
That's
I
true.
really doubt
Redoubt?
assassins are going to go through the Origis Mountains. I've never been mountain climbing. I don't think they want to be. Sounds cold.
Sounds
And-
like a way to get stronger.
Nori points at you and she says, "That's the thinking." And Lilith says, "I know you didn't say if that means it's cold or not."
I think it's going to be cold, Lilith.
I hate the cold.
Yeah. We'll be well prepared. Hopefully.
As these conversations are happening, you do see Skolna has kind of, like, separated a little bit, and she looks like she's thoughtful. You wouldn't expect her to say much anyway, but she has not nodded or shrugged, which is her usual means of communication.
Way of contributing, yeah. So I think Lorna will, like, kind of sidle up and, like, bump her shoulder and just say, is there something you want to talk about?
There's a long pause.
It can be later. It doesn't have to be now.
She nods.
Okay. Just tell me when.
She shrugs.
Lorna just nods like, I guess, of course.
She holds up a finger, like the number 1, but she holds it up low, so it doesn't look like she's saying one moment. It looks like she's just saying one.
Yeah. Lorna will just nod, like, this will be something that we'll tackle later when she's feeling able to do so. She'll look at Tier and just say, didn't you want to say something before Nore asked me about the pull portal thing?
I wanted to say, if you could turn into a dragon, why did you leave me in that pit for so long?
Nore, like, turns and look at him, and Nore says, "You deserved it."
I had a broken leg. You could have just turned me into a swallow or something that you could have... I don't think that was particularly fair, all right? I just needed that to point out.
What we know is that you wouldn't have been stuck down there permanently anyways, even if we couldn't have done... eventually you would have gotten out,
Don't speak for her. She had the magic.
Lorna just kind of ducks her head.
Look, that was just a little petty, okay? My feelings might be a little bit stung right now. That's all I'm saying. So maybe in the future, if one of us finds ourselves in dire issue, whether you happen to have personal issue with them or not, maybe use the tools that you have at disposal to help them out right away in case things get worse.
Nore just shrugs.
Good talk, guys. I'm glad we're all on the same page now.
Why don't we, set this aside and go look at the fancy house the druids have set aside for us?
Yeah. Great idea, Anscombe.
Yep. And he begins to walk straight toward the hermit house. The hermit house is it looks like a 3-story building, but it looks like the second and the third story were added on after the fact. You actually see there are edges of old roof that kind of peek out from where the second story was added on, and then the same again where the third story was added on. And as you approach it, you open the door. Nolu wasn't lying, it's a little dusty. And it smells of pine and old parchment as the air from inside the house kind of washes out. It's extremely well lit. The windows in the building are huge, and the sun's just shining in all directions. It feels like the whole house itself is just illuminated. Glowing, in fact. And you realize that's because when you step into the house, the right side of the interior, it looks like a little greenhouse or a sunroom or something. But specifically, it is filled with bioluminescent mushrooms.
Ooh.
Thousands of them. They're like lining the walls, the ceiling, the floor. It looks like the whole room is just lined with a carpet of fungus. And I don't know how familiar Lorna is with...
I'm sure Lily loves it.
I was about to say how familiar is with subterranean fungus, but you hear in your mind, oh, that smells amazing.
It's beautiful.
I miss mushrooms.
Well, we'll take in our fill here then, I suppose.
You might not like them. They are an acquired taste.
I'll just have to acquire it.
You're a good sport. You realize, yeah, it's not a sunroom. There's no windows in that room. It's just the light shining off of all of these mushrooms. The rest of this first floor is very comfortable, and it's clear that it is like used for entertainment. There's like a room right off the left that's full of a huge table that's surrounded by bookshelves filled with all sorts of books.
Oh,
Beyond
nice.
that, you see there is like a sitting room with a huge hearth that is cold at the moment, as it is certainly warm enough right now. But there are 6 large couches in that room that surround the hearth. It seems like this room, this first floor, is meant to entertain dozens of people.
I think it'll suit our needs just fine.
Everything you're
She'll start
looking at,
dusting it with Presty.
yeah, it's a quick process. Everything kind of has this homemade, almost roughshod look to it. Nothing is quite
Rustic.
square. Yeah, everything is a little bit at weird angles. It looks like it was made by skilled craftsmen who were using tools that were also made by hand. And everything is just sturdy, but a little off from... There's no 90 degrees in here.
Yeah.
And you see there are stairs leading up, and there are lots of rooms up those stairs. You see, like, the second floor is like a loft above this one. And then you see another set of stairs that leads up to a third floor, which is another loft above that one.
Well, everyone, pick your rooms. I think we have dinner tonight, like a feast. So put on your socializing faces.
Do they have a bath?
I hope so. Probably.
I'm
yes.
gonna look for a bath.
Let me know if you find it, because that sounds amazing.
Yep. And Anscombe goes up the stairs and starts searching for one. Everyone in your party just, like, spreads out. Except Lilith, who sits on a large sofa and bleeds a little bit.
Oh, the healer's gonna be here soon.
Yeah, that's what she said.
I'm not really built for helping with that.
Yeah, I've never asked you to.
Right. She'll sit down on the same couch.
I have a concern.
Okay.
There are assassins after us.
True.
It's likely they have a good idea where we are.
Even here?
I was asking you.
Well. It was very difficult for us to get here.
Yeah, it was.
This place is really well protected. We learned that because we had our faces kicked in trying to get here.
I remember.
I think the interior of this grove is probably the safest place we can be right now.
It's kind of a weird feeling.
Feeling safe?
No, well, yes, but I kind of felt that way a little bit when I first got to the academy. More like, it's kind of a weird feeling showing up here and looking like criminals.
Yeah.
And then fighting some demons while you did that thing that was fucking weird.
It wasn't me, but yes.
People keep saying that. People keep
Mhm.
saying that you didn't do it, that you switched with a lily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. And I'm trying to. But I feel like I don't have I feel like I'm not smart enough. Like I don't have the training. Like I haven't read the right
think
book. What the
It
fuck?
just needs to be explained in a way that's simpler.
Can you help me, please?
I can try. There was a woman who's had many names, but I just call her Lily as kind of a way to
So
talk about all of them.
when you're talking about Lily, that's a person.
Yes.
Is that the voice in your head that you've been
Yes.
talking about? Okay. How does that affect us now?
Because I look like her completely. Minus all of the changes I've had recently, like the missing hand and the scar on my face.
Yeah, I remember that.
Had
I
those.
remember both of those.
Yes, because you were there for both of those. She was alive several centuries ago. She had her own life, and she did some things here and there, some good, some bad. some worse.
Okay.
And when she passed away, she didn't die completely, I suppose you could say. Her soul became attached to my body. So we're both in here. I'm just the one who has control of it most of the time.
Where was she from?
The Underdark?
Okay. You don't look like you're from the Underdark.
Lorna was like, internally, she was like, I'm going to explain this simply. And then the more questions that are asked, the more complicated it's getting. So she looks at Lilith and just says, Lily was initially a drow. But when she left the Underdark, she changed her form to the one that I look like.
Okay.
She was a drow initially. That
Right.
was her start.
What I'm hoping for here is some good news. Like, did she have allies that we could use maybe? Did she know nobles? Did she know anybody powerful? Like, I'm hoping the master has someone that we might be able to lean on that could get her off our back for a little bit. That's the whole...
She definitely does have, well, we have allies in the druids here now, so that's something.
Sure, and well, I'm sure they're going to be really great at weaving baskets and keeping us safe from an assassin right here. There is a fucking professional killer across the pond from us. Maybe. She might not even be there anymore. There's no promise she's still in Port Sanctuary.
No. There are a lot of people that she's met in her life, and she's remembering a lot of them in tandem with me, so there are resources that we'll be able to use.
When? Because now would be good.
She had a life in Shona
Okay. Oh,
that I might be able to look into.
has she told you anybody's name? Any names? Anybody that we might lean on?
Yes. Well, so she
That was
worked
not
for the-
convincing at fucking all.
She worked for the Hammerleys, who are kind of in disgrace right now, but
Okay,
I don't-
so that's
I don't-
probably not good, but who else?
I don't. Lorna's internally going to say, Lily, help me out here. Do you remember anybody from Shona that you're on good terms with?
I'm sorry. I wasn't listening. What?
Anyone
need?
in Shona, when you were Palerna, that you were on good terms with?
Oh, the archivist,
Okay.
he might still be alive. He was a fairly young dwarf. Rubius Tundra.
Rubius Tundra.
He was just an apprentice when I met him, but his interest in the arcane was cute.
Cute?
Yes. I may have
Like a,
humored him to a drink.
just a drink?
And some conversation and some meals. I didn't sleep with him.
Okay. But he might have fond memories of you, right? And so much time has passed that he's probably really powerful.
If he's still there. At this point, he might be 200?
Okay. All right. That's a long time.
Well, middling age for a dwarf, but yes.
That's something. Still, the brief pause that she had to ask Lily, she looks
Yeah.
back at.
Lilith's like confused, and she's like, what just happened?
Sorry, I was asking Lily. There is a very powerful dwarf there who she knew, who they left on good terms.
Okay, that's
so we
good
can
news.
start there. We'll start there.
You're sure? You're
Mhm.
sure it's good terms?
Yes. I'm going to roll deception.
Okay. Yes, we're
Dirty
pretty
20.
good. Okay, you beat Lilith, but by 1.
Yes.
Okay. Look. This Lily person.
Mm-hmm.
We just cleaned up her mess against a bunch of demons. A lot of people seem to really hate her. I just haven't heard anything about the Hammerleys, but if they've been in disgrace, it just doesn't seem like this Lily person has been up to much good.
She was a complicated person. I mean, I've done bad things.
Aren't we all?
Exactly. And not because I wanted to, but sometimes you feel like you have to do things.
Yeah, I get it.
I will say that I got this, and she holds the staff for Lilith to look at. This is very powerful. It will be an immense help for us. That's something.
It looks like a ball and a stick. I'm not.
Well, first of all, those are my tears.
What?
There was a whole ritual involved. I can cast a lot of magic through this. You don't even understand.
You're right, I don't understand. I'm
trying to find something at will that I can cast. Like just on, off, on, off.
an arcane lock, protection
that's
from
what I
evil
was-
and good.
She's gonna... Is there like a chest or like a drawer or
There's
like
lots
a
of
door
drawers. Yeah, there's
nearby?
there's
Okay.
like a dresser with a bunch of drawers right here in the main area that she sat down in.
Lorna will stand up and go over to the drawer of one of the dressers. One of the drawers. Yeah, you know what I mean. And she's going to arcane lock it.
Okay. Lilith just looks at you and is like, "What happened?"
Now try to open that.
She pulls on the drawer and it doesn't open.
Uh-huh.
It's stuck.
It's locked. With a magical phrase.
Okay.
And I
I'm-
just do that now. Anything could be locked.
Forgive me for not being impressed.
But you can't open it, right? And you're really strong.
I don't want to break it. Like it looks like someone made this out of branches. I don't want to.
Oh,
How do you?
yeah.
Okay. How unlock it?
She'll unlock it.
Oh, look at that! And she opens the drawer.
Listen, maybe I picked a really bad example.
So that
There are...
ball on a stick made of your tears can lock dresser drawers.
I can lock anything I want.
Okay.
That's just an example. There's a lot of spells I can cast now, but I don't want to destroy this house, so I'm not going to cast
I
them.
will take your word for it. Okay.
Does she believe me?
roll an insight.
It was a really bad example. 24.
She believes you believe that.
Shit.
I mean, she doesn't know. She doesn't
Yeah,
understand
this is not
the
a
arcane.
person magic.
Yeah, not at all. She doesn't have any magic to her. She has the fiendish shit that she gets for being a tiefling, which means she can hellish rebuke somebody. And that's basically all she's got.
Right.
And she has none of the background, so you're basically... You're explaining rocket science to a farmer right now.
Right. I promise this is going to be incredibly helpful in our vengeance quest.
I believe you.
And I learned something recently about... Do you remember when we went to the Arcanium and there was that really big shadow fox?
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought... So he and I go way back, or he and Lily do anyways. A couple 100 years. Been working together a long time. And I thought we were on bad terms, but we were actually on really good terms. So, if I just try to reconnect with him, maybe we'll have an ally in him.
I don't know if you could read the air in that room, but it was tense.
It was a misunderstanding. And it wasn't even my fault. Genuinely, when we re-met in this lifetime, he came at me from a really hostile angle that made me think that we were on bad terms. But it was all just a misunderstanding.
Okay.
We were like friends. He helped me change one of the fundamental rules of magic.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but I believe you, I think.
The point is, I think I may have jumped the gun a little on kind of. Ugh, that's a whole other thing. But if I reach out to him, I might be able to appeal to that camaraderie we used to have and say, I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Can we go back to the way things were?
Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know the situation with this giant fox, but I do know that with how tense that felt, and the fact that you, look, no offense, but you can come across as arrogant and kind of a bitch.
And that's how I used to be too. And internally, she'll just say, no offense, Lily.
None
So
taken.
it's not even really a change of personality for the one that he was friends with.
Okay, so maybe that's why he thought it was that person?
I think that you're correct about that. It's what a tangled web we weave. I feel like I'm not reassuring
It's a
you.
hard we.
Me and her.
I'm just trying to stay alive out here.
You're doing a great job. You kept me alive too. And you didn't have to help with this whole thing. I know you joined me for master specific purposes, but I appreciate it.
Yes, but I mean, I'm no goody two shoes, but if there's fucking demons trying to kill people, I can't just let that happen.
Right. It had to be helped.
That was your fault or her fault?
Yes.
That explains a lot.
That was also kind of a misunderstanding.
There's a lot of that going around, it seems.
Right.
There is a
The poor-
knock on the door as you say the point, and you just hear a quiet voice. Hello?
She'll just give like a one moment. I'll be back. She'll get up and go to the door.
Rift Herald. Hello?
Oh, yes. She'll open the door. Hello.
You see a little halfling with like really long black hair that flows almost down to her ankles. Looks up and she says, "Hi,
Hello.
I heard you were hurt in the fight.
Oh, some of us were, yes. Please. She'll show her to the couch Lilith is sitting on.
Oh, yes. Those look deep. You're bleeding all over that. Okay.
Yeah, I can get the bloodstains out.
That would be great.
Yes, we will not leave this place looking like a murder scene.
I appreciate that. Miles would be really upset if his upholstery was. And she begins, like, she pulls out a large leather parcel and she begins dressing Lilith's wounds.
Can you pause for a second?
Yes. Grace the healer, who you assume this is, begins the process of patching up Lilith.
Mm-hmm.
And as she does, she says, "Would you mind fetching anybody else that requires some mending?"
Yes. Does Lorna remember who of her party needed healing?
Nore was untouched. Skolna was a little hurt. Tierra and Anscombe both got pretty beat up.
She's gonna go for Tyr and Anscombe.
Okay. As you look for them, Anscombe like emerges from a side door on the second floor, and he says, "They have a bath, and it smells real good."
Fantastic. I see that in my very near future. But the healer's here.
Oh, thank goodness. He begins going down the stairs. You fetch the rest of them, easy enough. Your party is all restored, and you can, well, they can basically complete short rest and also fully heal. So I'm going to do that real quick. Lilith by far needed the most.
Uh-huh.
Eventually, like, you have the whole party down and recovering. And as that is happening, Grace is kind of just idly talking about what the plans are that is going to happen. So, like, all of you are in this front room, like, sitting on couches as she's one by one bandaging and healing and performing nature magics to restore those who are harmed. And she begins to tell a story. She says, a sacred and ancient tree that, well, it's always been in the middle of Verdant Grove. We've always just called it the Verdant Oak. But the stories say that once the Riftmaker left, it began to wither and wilt. As if the corruption from the abyss was killing it. But, well, a few weeks ago, the last leaf from that oak fell. And we tried to preserve it because it was really kind of the heart of this new grove after we moved here. And Nolu said that if we couldn't halt the corruption or stop it from getting any farther, this grove would die with the oak. But already on my way back here, one of the branches was green again. So thank you.
Lorna looks equal parts guilty and relieved. And she just says, I'm glad.
She smiles at you wide. You're so young to have taken on such an onus.
Well, we don't get to choose when and what we're responsible for.
Some things we do. But in this case, I'm just glad that you are here to make it right.
Me too.
I'd hate
Glad
to.
I lived.
Me too. She like thumps Anscombe on the shoulder and she says, not that they were going to get to you through him. Look at this steel wall of a man.
He did a great job. I was untouched in that.
Anscombe
Had to
like
focus.
is just staring at the floor, a blush on his face,
Oh,
complete flat lips,
so
just
cute.
completely silent.
Adorable.
You are patched up, and then she says, will you be attending the feast tomorrow?
If we're invited, absolutely.
It's a feast in your name, so I do pray that you'll be there. That would be a little odd, should the guest of honor.
Well, then I'll be there.
All of you, of course.
Couldn't have done it without them. Truly.
You're right about that.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Just making sure we all remember exactly who did what. And Grace kind of stands, seeing that you all are patched up. I look forward to seeing you all again.
Of course. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I run a small apothecary just a few blocks down. If you have some trade you'd like to perform, I'd be willing to offer a discount on some potions or something.
You like potions would be so fantastic.
Well, I have plenty.
We'll have to stop by then.
She smiles and nods and leaves. Patched up, your party all seems very weary but recovered. So,
There is something Lorna wants to do. Do I have spell slots for it?
I don't
Let
know.
me just check. Oh, first she'll pull out her staff of replenishment, the one that she had previously been wielding, and she'll look at Nora and say, "Well, I have a new staff. Could I interest you in this magnificent specimen?"
Perhaps. What does it do?
It replenishes up to 5th level
Yep,
daily.
I'll take that.
You can mix and match your spells.
That's fantastic. And to answer your concerns, she turns to Tier. I would have polymorphed you in a last resort, but I only can do it once, so that's why I didn't right away.
See, perfectly
Tier
reasonable.
is shaking his head, just does not believe her at all.
I love the idea of her in the time that they weren't together, she was thinking how
She's
can I
trying
spin
to
this?
come up, yeah, what do I say to make him not angry?
They'll work out their problems hopefully someday.
Maybe.
After she passes that staff along, there is a sending that she wants to, and I do have the spell slots for it.
Okay.
She wants to send to Fionn because she hasn't touched base with her in a while and wants to see if she's okay. So while everybody's just kind of sitting around and talking amongst themselves, she will cast a sending. I will send it to you, what it says, but I will also say it out loud. It goes as follows. Fionn, it's Dahlia. Are you safe? Has the master threatened you? Do you still have eyes on or any knowledge of Remus? Love you, miss you.
Okay. You hear, let me make sure this is not too many words. Moment.
No worries.
1, 2, 3. Okay. You hear Fionn's voice, and she sounds a little tense. She says, Sweetling, I'm fine. I'm aboard vessel with Remus. And there's a pause, and you're pretty sure she's counting. He's on journey of rescue? Convinced you've been mesmerized.
Oh boy.
Window sailing to Ferrum. A month? Careful. And that's the end of the sending.
I think Lorna sitting in her sitting on the couch, probably still next to Lilith, all of the color drains from her face. She looks very white.
Tier, clocks it.
You alright?
I'm mean, I'm currently great. I mean, fine. I mean, nothing's wrong. Right now. Maybe in a month.
What's in a month?
I got, oh, I feel sick. I got word from, someone I know and trust that my dad is on his way to Farum.
Everyone stops and looks over at you because everyone knows the whole story. What?
The master, of course, why would she keep it a secret after everything she told him? She must have, but he thinks I've been mesmerized and I suppose kidnapped to Farum, and he's on his way to rescue me.
Everyone is quiet for a long moment.
Well, that's simple enough. We just don't go back to Farron.
Hooray! The place that I live and work.
Well, we can talk to Persh, right? We can talk to him. Maybe he can.
You definitely have to talk to him. I could send a transcription paper.
Just be like, look, in a month's time, a horrible person is going to come and try and kidnap you. And, most of these things you don't have this much information about beforehand. So it's good that we know this now. We'll just sort it out. Maybe Persh can arrange some dead drops or something.
Okay, I'm definitely going to write to Persh. I don't know what he's capable of. I don't know if he's bringing anyone. I don't know if it's just him. If he's just going to go to the gates of the Merit Guard and be like, give me back. Or if he's going to try to hurt someone.
Well, wait a minute, right? You're a contractor with the Marigard now, right? That means you have some protections,
I don't think the Marigard would be, willing to just let you get grabbed.
No, and I'm worried what he's going to do to someone else if they try to intervene. I'm worried he's going to hurt someone.
Someone at the Marigard.
I don't know.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to see someone try and cross Persh. I'm really curious. Lilith speaks up and she says, I mean, yeah, I'd like to see Persh go at it, but at the same time, we don't know what this guy's capable of.
That's what I'm saying. Everything about my childhood was a lie. I don't know if he's capable of anything, potentially.
Did you ever see him, use magic or influence someone?
I know what he did allegedly before I was born. He helped secure test subjects for magical experimentation. I don't know if he did that just by throwing money at the problem, or if he charmed them himself, or if he kidnapped people himself. I don't know, but I've never seen him do magic.
This sounds exactly like the sort of person that would do magic. Not obviously.
Right, because if you don't expect it, you can't prepare for it.
Okay. No matter how powerful he might be, no matter how strong he is, you're an adult. You have a job. You're a mercenary. You work for the Marigar Mercenary Academy. You're a contractor, right? It's not. He can't just illegally show up and grab you because.
No, I mean he can. He can very well do that.
I mean,
just because things are illegal doesn't mean you can't do them.
Right, but we'd have the law on our side, right? We'd have the guard and the Marigard and any other word that begins with guard. Whatever. There's protections, right? He can't just go up and easily grab you. So, he must know this. If he thinks you've been mesmerized, what does that mean?
It's influenced somehow by magic. Enchanted.
Why not just say charmed? All right, old language. Look, whatever happens, if he shows up, we've got your back, right?
I know.
We're not just going to let him take you. And I will kill a man.
I know.
I mean, to take someone against their will, even if I didn't like you, I wouldn't let that happen.
I think the most complicated part about this is I don't want him to get hurt either. That's pretty fucked up, right?
That does make things a little sticky.
I
Why?
ultimately, he's my dad.
Well, he's not.
Was. I know he isn't, but
He's a creepy, groomer man thing.
it's really hard to try to separate who I used to know him as with who he actually is.
You might have to look past what you know, like what you've seen
I know.
or what you know.
I like to think if worst came to worst, push came to shove, that I could do what I needed to do, but I'm worried that I won't be able to.
Because part of you still feels like he's family.
Yeah. I never confronted him after I found out the truth. I just left. Mentally, I just didn't get the closure of seeing him for who he is. I know it, but I don't for my mind and my body and my eyes don't have that reality.
I understand.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I get it. You're gonna have to make that judgment for yourself. And no one can tell you otherwise. Because if they do, you'll feel like you were convinced, but not for yourself. You'll never have
I didn't
closure.
believe it. Yeah. In a perfect world, he would have just stayed in Saris and I just never would have saw him again, and he'd be alive and I'd be alive and we'd be doing our own things, but I know it's not going to end like that.
I don't know fuck all about magic. And if this guy has magic, is there magic that can make you believe him?
There is.
Is there magic that you can protect yourself with from that?
I believe so.
Okay. Then here's
Start
what we
there.
do. Yeah. If you know you're going to see him, start, put up your defense. Get into a guard stance. Be ready. And then when you do see him, be honest. And if he's a monster, he won't care.
And then I'll know that for certain, and that's what it'll have to be.
And if he's not a monster, he'll listen. He might disagree. He might argue. But he'll care, at least.
He wouldn't do something I didn't want him to, right?
Well, that depends. If he thinks he's doing what's best for you.
Right.
The question is, does he see you as your father? Or does he see you as something else?
I don't know.
Only one way to find out.
Well, I'd like to avoid seeing him at all if possible, which means that in a month...
That's not the right answer. We can't do that. You have to face this down.
I know. It doesn't make sense for me to avoid it for the rest of my life.
Do you know what you gotta do?
No.
You gotta be there when he hits the dock. You gotta be ready for him. You gotta be ready for him. And you gotta stand up to him. And you gotta be honest. And we'll be there to help you. And we'll do whatever preparation we gotta do.
Everyone is looking at Lilith like a little surprised.
Yeah.
But you're gonna stand up to him. And you're gonna tell him the truth. And either he's gonna listen. And he's gonna have his own opinions. He might argue. He might fight. Or he's not gonna listen. And then you have your answer.
But I'm scared.
And that's okay. It's okay to be scared. Family's the scariest shit on the planet.
Yeah.
But your found family cares about you more.
Yeah.
I never knew you had it in you, Lilith. Shut the fuck up, Tier.
Yeah, dear, don't ruin the moment.
Sorry?
Okay.
We have a month, one way or another. So we're gonna finish the fucking task at hand, because we're adults, and we do that. And then we will go back to Ferrum, get ourselves prepared, and handle this.
So, a week and a half to Shona. And then 2 weeks to Augur City on the way back, and we can teleport from Augur City to Ferrum.
Yep.
To the Marigard. Which means we'll have maybe 2 weeks in Ferrum before he arrives.
It would be a good opportunity to research magical defenses while we're in Argus City again.
I thought so too.
Or maybe they'll have something in Shona.
Maybe. I know a wizard there apparently.
You've been to Shona?
Well, yes.
Okay, right. I should have known. Well, if they're friendly or willing to help, we can get some answers out of them too.
Maybe.
And this is one of the few instances where I think Lilith might be right.
I don't say it like that.
We pretty much disagree on everything else. We
I think
fight
Lilith has
different,
good
we
instincts.
think different. Okay, fine.
Thanks, Lorna. I knew you'd have my back.
I think you
Not
get me in a way a lot of people don't.
Not everything's about brawn,
Anscombe. And Anscombe just... I fight with magic now. It's not about brawn.
Oh, so you agree.
Fight with magic now.
Okay. That aside, sure, yeah, we're gonna do that. Should I still write to Persh and say?
Oh,
"Hey,
yeah.
Okay.
What if he shows up
she'll-
before that?
That's true. Yeah, he's taking a window ship. Does Lauren know what a window ship is?
Roll Arcana.
15.
Yeah, you know what a window ship is.
Does she know that they could be ahead of schedule potentially?
There's a potential for them to be either way ahead of schedule, way behind schedule. Like, the Astral Sea does weird shit. You also know that if he's on a window ship, either it's a privately chartered one, or it's a freight vessel that he has. Maybe it's one of his own. Maybe it's, it's likely that vessel's purpose is not only to bring him to Ferrum.
Lorna is counting on her fingers because she wants to send a message first to Fionn. So give me a moment.
Okay.
Um, One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay. She will send another sending.
Okay.
And it will read as follows. Fionn, please stay safe. Is he bringing a force with him? I think I'll meet him at the docks. This needs to end.
Okay. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. She says
He has Keen with him.
Oh boy.
I am safe. He believes I'm an ally. Merc's on the ship, not his contract. Bold of you. I'm proud.
Oh. So she was implying that not his contract. Are they not his mercenary contracts?
you roll a history check.
Okay. Oh, good. 22.
Window ships always have a team of mercenaries on them because they're going to the Astral Sea. It is dangerous, and to not have a mercenary team or a team of men-at-arms or just a crew part of the ship to defend them from the threats of the Astral Sea is irresponsible and uninsurable. So, while there are mercenaries on the ship, you
He
don't
hasn't
think
hired them.
correct. That's what she
So-
meant by not his contract.
So he's only bringing Keen? Lorna will say out loud.
Who's Keen?
He's a man under my father's employ I've known for a couple of years. It's a big forged.
Like
Just
Ulrich
strength.
big?
No, not that big.
Okay, because that was insane.
If I had to guess, he was probably either he wanted to be big when he was forged, or he was big in his previous life and wanted to keep that. I don't know.
Oh,
Like
do they
8 feet
ask?
tall.
Like, how
I
does
don't-
that
I don't know.
work? Okay.
I don't know. I never asked him because sometimes the circumstances of becoming forged aren't pleasant ones.
Right. But you're eighth of the way there.
She just kind of narrows her eyes at him.
Not funny? Okay.
All I know is that he's strong, but I've never seen Keen cast magic. But I've never seen my father cast magic, and he very well might be able to.
Okay. Well, if he's only bringing the one, maybe he's planning on... Maybe he's planning on, gathering forces when he's in Farum.
I don't know.
Or maybe he thinks that you'll go with
Go
him.
quietly. Maybe he thinks he can dispel whatever's clouded my judgment.
That exactly seems like the sort of thing an arrogant spellcaster would do.
It hasn't occurred to him that I left of my own volition. He thinks that's something some outside force had to have convinced me to leave.
To be fair, we are assuming he knows this from the Master, who is a piece of shit.
That's true, but
What did she
Would
say,
it have-
do you think?
that's what I'm wondering. Would it have caused more trouble for her to say, oh, she left and she wanted to leave? Or what? Maybe she said, oh, she left and she was forced to leave. But that would, I don't know what would cause more trouble for me. Presumably that's the one she'd want, right?
Yeah?
I feel like then she would have been honest and said I left on purpose because then he would have brought more of a force to bring me back. Expecting more of a resistance.
What if we're assuming too much here? Maybe she just said, hey, Lorna's in Farum.
That's true. The simplest answer is often the right one.
Malcolm's razor? What is that?
Malcolm's razor. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, one way or the other, it's just him, pretty much, and his second-hand man.
It's him and Keen and my contact who he thinks is on his side.
He probably thinks 3 is enough, then.
Suppose so. I know Fionn would never help him.
Well, from what you said, she helped you out in the first place.
Exactly. So at the very least we'll have her on our side when we meet him.
Okay. I mean, pretty sure he's not expecting you to meet him at the docks.
No.
He might have arrangements in Ferrum or something ahead of time.
If we tell Persh, maybe Maxwell can look into it.
That is a great idea.
Really?
Yeah. We have a spy master on our side. Absolutely.
The praise. She's just like, hee hee hee. So right, I was going to do this anyways. She'll take out a piece of transcription paper, of which she has 7.
Okay.
And she will write to Persh. She will go as follows. Persh, it's Lorna. We're a week and a half out from Shona. Received information that Remus Majer, my parentheses or air quotes father, has heard I'm in Ferrum and is on his way by window ship. Scheduled to arrive in a month. Thinks I'm mesmerized. Only bringing 2 people with him. May have arrangements in Ferrum to acquire more. I seek help from the Marigard.
Okay. That's the end of the message?
Mm-hmm.
The message you receive back from Persh, which happens pretty promptly. You imagine he's at his desk working at this time of day.
He always is.
The message you receive back is, Lorna, acknowledged. Maxwell will investigate any potential leads, any word around town regarding Remus Majer and any arrangements for a meeting within a month.
And that says love Persh, right?
No, that's literally the end of the message.
Damn. Someday.
Why?
I just want a father figure
Oh, God.
that doesn't want to marry me.
It's Tabernacle.
Oh, yeah. Okay, she'll share what the message said to the party.
Good news, at least.
Mm-hmm.
If we find out something, I'm sure, or rather, if Max will find something, I'm sure he'll send information our way.
However he does.
Probably through Persh.
Yes. Or a Semaphore Tower.
Skolna just, winces a little.
Probably Persh, though, right?
Yeah, probably.
I'm gonna take a bath. I feel really tense and a little sweaty.
It's a big bath. You're gonna enjoy it. You want some help?
I mean, well, if you're offering.
He picks you up.
Okay.
Everyone else just, rolls their eyes.
You two have fun, and that thing better still be intact when you're finished.
I know ending.
No. No. You better not break anything. We're guests.
Door closes.
I swear, if we have to build a new bathtub, I'm going to take it out on both of you.
As you and Anscombe go to take a collective bath,
It's just saving water.
I don't think
It's
there's going to be
efficiency.
very much clean going on.
It's efficiency.
I think that is where we will call it for tonight's session. I hope you had a good time. You have, you've gotten the first
I
news.
got some trauma to confront.
Yeah, you got the first news of Remus Majer. Thank you for playing with me tonight. I hope you had a good time. To those of you who are at home or at work watching, hi Penn, hi Emily, hi class, hi everybody else. We love you all, and I wish you a good night.